Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Proudly Asian. I am your host, Isabel. For those who are listening on Spotify, this will be uploaded as a video podcast, so make sure to check it out. Let us know what you think. This is still something that we are testing out on the back end. We are not sure if we're going to adopt this format for every single future episode that we have, but apparently video podcast is very much a thing. So let us know what you think, whether or not you like it. For this week, we do have a special announcement, which is there is not going to be a regular episode. But I still want to spend a few minutes to say a few words to all of you. First things first, I would like to give a very special shout out to our listener, Megan, for recently buying us 10 cups of coffee on our Ko-fi page. Megan, thank you so much for making the extra effort to show us some love, because we're just so grateful for listeners like yourself who go the extra mile to show us that you see our hard work and that you appreciate it. So thank you so much. And we are so glad that our listeners might be able to benefit from the content that we produce, either for entertainment or education purposes. So thank you. Another round of shout outs that I would like to give is for our listeners, Adrian and also Eliza, for buying us a few cups of coffee a while back on Ko-fi page. So I must apologize to both of you, because at the time that you donated the coffees, we were not able to get the notifications because they just went directly into our junk mail. And I just did not find them until much later. So sorry about that, but we really appreciate that you also took the time to go the extra mile to show us that we are loved, or you appreciate our content. So thank you so much for all the coffees that you guys got us, Adrian and Alyssa. It's actually funny, a few episodes back when I had our podcaster friends from the US on, we were talking about how podcasters can actually sustain themselves financially with the production and all the time that they put in to produce these episodes, right? And I joked about how, like, if I could get $1 out of this podcast production, I consider it a win. But back then I was kind of thinking along the lines of podcast hosting platforms offering more options for monetization, just like YouTube does. But it was actually a much better surprise that we got more than $1 from our actual listeners who appreciate our work. It's one of those moments where it just makes you feel like, wow, it's not because of the money, but someone actually sees the hard work that you put in and they want you to know that they see it. So that's a really nice feeling. And for those of you who would like to also show us some love in the form of caffeine, you can feel free to check out our Ko-fi page, which is linked in the episode description. We'll really appreciate it if we can get a few extra rounds of coffee from you guys, because we do put in a lot of hard work and hours after our day job and also during the weekends to put together these weekly episodes and also improve our content whenever we get a chance to. So also, unlike our podcaster friends in the US and in other markets where some podcast platforms have actually rolled out monetization options and tools, wherever we are based right now, we don't have that option. So even if you're hearing any ads or commercials during our episodes, we don't get anything out of it. So if you feel like showing us some love in the form of coffee, you can feel free to check out our Ko-fi page in the episode description. But as always, don't feel obliged to do that, because even having you guys as our listeners and hearing from you guys from time to time, it's already huge. And we are so proud of the community that we have built here. And it's such a great privilege to be able to get in touch with some of you and hear some of the unique growing up stories that you guys had. But of course, another way to support us for free is always by leaving us a 5-star review on any podcasting platforms that you are currently listening to our show from. And for Apple Podcasts listeners, you also have the option of writing a 5-star review if you have a minute or two to spare. So do check it out. Leave us a 5-star review if you have not already. And if you like our show, we will really appreciate it. And it does go a long way. I would also like to say a massive thank you to all of those who reached out to us on social media and email lately for telling us about what you think about the podcast, what you like about it, and who you would like to be hearing from as future guests on the podcast. And also some of you also took the time to share your growing up experiences with us. And it's just so fascinating to learn more about how, that diversity of the growing up experiences for a lot of different Asians around the world are. So thank you so much for taking the time to reach out to us. All right, before we go, let me just quickly let you guys in on what's coming up on Proudly Asian. So this July, one of your favorite limited series, Proudly Asian Food Month, is coming back. And for those who are new here, Proudly Asian Food Month is a limited series that we rolled out last July where we talk to chefs, F&B professionals and restaurant owners about the cuisines that they grew up or even some of the underrepresented Asian cuisines or food that are misunderstood. So last year, we actually got to cover Lao cuisine, Burmese, Tibetan, and also even creative elderly care food with an Asian twist. So elderly people and people with difficulties eating could still eat their favorite Asian dishes. So that was really an interesting one. But in short, yes, Proudly Asian Food Month is coming back starting from next week. And we also have an interesting lineup of guests this year to talk about the food that they grew up with and also cuisines that represent their heritage. Meanwhile, over on Instagram, we also have planned a bunch of exclusive content for you guys. So make sure to check it out. Just do not watch them after midnight. Do not. So that's it from me for this week. For our friends in the US, happy 4th of July. I hope you're having a wonderful time celebrating with your loved ones and friends. And for those who are based outside the US, have a lovely, lovely week ahead. And we'll see you next week. Bye. That's it for this episode of Proudly Asian. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at proudly.asian for more content. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. Leave us a 5-star review on wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in and signing off for now. I'm Isabel Wong.